pain is a temporary problem.
Temporary. It will be temporary if you get yourself crushed to death by a vending machine, because then you'll be dead.
I'll survive out of spite.
Out of spite?
Yeah.
Like,
fuck
I
you,
don't
vending
think
machine.
that your fucking ribs will agree with that, but...
I don't need my ribs to agree.
I
I just need a majority vote.
From what? The rest of your fucking body system?
Yes!
Like,
I'm an American, damn it! Democracy!
Due to a recent budget increase, thanks to our lovely viewers, we got the chance to send Cole on a first-hand visit to the afterlife. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Peter.
I'm Alina.
and I'm dead. We're currently channeling my voice through a Ouija board we have duct taped to a speaker.
What's it like being dead?
I can't see anything.
That sounds inconvenient.
It's not too different from dated life for me, honestly, but...
What's,
It's cold, I have no limbs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cold. I don't have any skin. I can't see. It's weird to talk because I don't have, like, a voice. Technically, with which to speak. These are, like, my uninterrupted thoughts. Full stream of consciousness.
I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing.
All of the silence is a period of time where I temporarily cease to exist and feel the unending pain of the void.
Oh shit, the duct tape fell off a little. Hold on. Well, viewers, I hope it's become somewhat apparent that today's topic is the afterlife.
Is next week's topic necromancy?
No, it's something I really,
You're
really
not coming
enjoy.
Oh, okay.
But we're not. It isn't next week right now. It's right now. So right now we're talking about the afterlife. What is the afterlife? What is its depictions in media? What does it all mean? Story-wise.
Well, the unending void tells me that the meaning of life is being alive. So that's helpful.
See, that's what I've always said. Am I the void? I'm the
I
afterlife.
hope not.
That complicates our friendship.
What do you mean? I'm just a silly little void. You wouldn't get complicated with a silly little void, now would you?
You know, I can't argue with that.
See, everything's fine.
Which afterlife depiction are we starting with? Who gets to talk first today?
Do we?
I mean, I think we should talk about the most common ones: heaven, hell, and purgatory.
That's fair.
I never see purgatory in fiction.
I see it in a webcomic I read.
Congratulations. That's more often than I tend to see it. If we're talking purely Christianity, then, like, a lot of people tend to forget that purgatory was also a thing, because, like, Dante's Divine Comedy is where a lot of information about hell comes from in the modern conscious around it. Like, purgatory is also in there, but no one remembers purgatory.
I think I think I've seen someone summarize it before, maybe?
Purgatory or Dante's Divine Comedy?
Both. Definitely the divine... definitely Dante's Inferno. Don't know about the Purgatory one. That one's a little more vague in my brain.
So allow me to be pedantic for a moment.
Okay, pedantic. Go on.
Yeah.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, Ouija board. What is it?
It's technically referred to, it's Dante's Divine Comedy, and Dante's Inferno is just the hell part. That's it.
I'm so sorry. I got a book's pronouns wrong, Cole.
That's not even what this is. What? These are the titles of... Huh?
I know. I make yolk.
Fucking spew hellfire from the Ouija board cursor at you.
I can just fucking run the fucking thing over goodbye and you're gone forever. I won't because we have a podcast to record, but I can.
Thanks.
All right. What are we talking about first? Hell?
Oh, fuck it. Who
Heaven?
knows?
Let's go with heaven first.
Heaven? Okay. Start light.
That's a very
Like-
difficult one, honestly.
Literally, divine light. It hurts. It's so bright.
It's very bright, unlike the inside of the speaker.
We keep the speaker duct taped to the Ouija board long enough, you'll start haunting the speaker, and then we can just have you there forever.
That's what we call a ghost in the machine.
Ah! Anyway, I have
So
a...
where to start with it? Which thing exactly? There's a lot
There's
to
a,
choose from.
there are so many heavens. I don't know if I know the original heaven.
Well,
Let's go over
How
the
today.
let's go over the concept of heaven first.
Okay.
Like, what exactly it's supposed to be? Because I assume it's pretty unanimously like the paradise after death.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I don't think anyone watching this would be unfamiliar with the concept of what a heaven would be.
yeah.
Look, one of our
Good.
subscribers could be 3.
You should, if you're 3 years old, you should not go away.
What the fuck are you doing here? Get the
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
out of here.
if
Fuck
that's-
off. Hey mom, fuck. There's a bunch of swear words coming out of my iPad. Fuck you. There. Now they've been grounded.
Maybe.
Right now that we've very calmly discriminated against toddlers, yeah, many depictions of hell, not hell, heaven. You've got the Christian / Catholic heaven, which is just I don't actually know how it's described in the Bible, if it ever is.
Peter, you're gonna get some kind of part of the Bible fandom mad at us for referring to, and I'm also gonna do that by referring to it like that as well. But it like separated Catholics and Christians from the rest of Christianity. Something's gonna explode.
It sucks to be Catholic, I guess.
I mean, according to
They shouldn't have
people I know.
started 90% of all religious conflicts in the world.
What? Maybe.
They don't get to pick and choose here.
I mean, I do know of like some Catholics who would be glad to be excluded. So I guess that's like a point in your favor, maybe. Maybe they like you now. I don't know what that means, if anything.
Nothing. It means nothing.
Good. Okay. So what's... Okay.
What's heaven like in the Bible, Cole?
What's
Yeah.
heaven like in the Bible? I'm glad you asked.
Because I have no idea. I've never
Honestly,
read
it's been way too long, and I don't remember.
it. Do you want me to look it up?
Are we really going to be covering literal biblical heaven?
We don't have to.
I mean,
I
I'm
feel
more
like that's a
asking.
bit out
I'm more
there.
asking if the depictions that you see in media, the
Well, I
kingdom
don't
in the
see
clouds, full of angels, is accurate or not.
Oh no.
No, I don't believe it is. I don't super remember. I mean, I'm fairly. The thing about reading the Bible is that it's really long.
Yes.
And I sure did forget a whole lot of information that is inside of there. I don't recall many, if any, descriptions of heaven. The Bible is much more concerned with works done on earth. So, there's that. Typically, though, people today refer to Dante's Divine Comedy when talking about heaven, hell, and maybe purgatory if that ever fucking happens.
Mhm.
I mean, Dante's Divine Comedy is just it's Bible fanfic.
Yeah, so is Paradise Lost, and somehow they've managed to become like dubiously canon. So good for them.
So we'll just accept Dante's Divine Comedy as the truth.
For the sake of this video,
Okay.
Dante's Divine Comedy is what heaven is like.
You're gonna have to continue this thought because I have not read.
The
I
thought
haven't read
ends
that
there.
far.
That's a question. I'm posing that as a question. Is that what we're doing?
I guess I'm like I was trying to find a summary of the Bible's
you mean,
description, and it just kept giving me more and more and more words.
Yeah, the Bible is full of those.
No wonder I haven't read it.
That,
Not
among
enough,
other
not
reasons.
enough pictures.
No picture, no read.
No pictures.
Why haven't they turned the Bible into a visual novel yet?
Sorry, I'm fully dissociating, imagining anime Jesus.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's start there. What's anime Jesus like? Or rather, what's anime heaven like?
Ooh,
Oh god.
I don't. My brain just went to Dragon Ball for some reason.
That's one I vaguely know. Not really, but vaguely.
Well, in
I don't
Dragon
think any of
Ball,
us are. I don't think any of us are particularly well versed in the Dragon Ball lore.
I'm not really either. I just remember people dying a lot, and there was like
All I know.
the afterlife, and I think it was like a physical place.
Yeah, and then there was a lot of training and eating, and then everyone got the Dragon Balls. They were like, "Get the fuck back here, bitch!" And then, yeah, I guess I don't know.
I know Goku fought someone in the afterlife once, and that like put his like whole immortal existence on the line. Because if you die as a soul, you die like permanently. It's like full cessation of being.
Yeah.
It's like getting sent to the Shadow Realm.
Shadow Realm.
A fun fact that is particularly well known at this point, I think. Shadow Realm, full invention of the dub. Fantastic invention of the dub. Unfortunately, not canon.
No.
Technically, if we're going by like weird translation stuff, because it's like completely invented by 4Gates. But also extremely hilarious.
Yes.
And quite ubiquitous in references. So we should keep it. Because it's funny.
It is.
Can we talk about the Shadow Realm as a form of afterlife?
I mean,
we
kinda.
probably could.
Okay. I
Instead of
mean,
like just limiting ourselves to like, because like I feel like heaven and hell is like the obvious place to go, considering
yeah.
the fact we live in America and the cultural
The
ubiquity of
only
Christianity. But
the only predominant like heaven hell thing I can think of most
right
recently in my
now,
brain
yeah,
is Hasbin Hotel, but you know,
the show is good.
the show is good.
And sentence.
Yeah.
I wish they were given more than 8 episodes,
Same.
so that it wasn't so crammed.
Yeah, but it did tackle with a lot of afterlife concepts.
It did, yeah.
Especially the
Honestly,
big question of the show being, can you redeem a soul that's been sent to hell?
there's a lot of theological implications
Yeah.
in that idea. Sorry, my brain's immediately going into like actual real world theology. Uh, some Christians do believe that when the second coming happens, that all of the souls that are in hell get raised from hell into heaven, and that hell is empty from that point on. But like everybody gets redeemed because the point of Jesus dying is that everyone's sins are cleansed. Fun fact about some sects of a big fuck ass religion.
I like to think Jesus comes back. He's just like out on the street. Somebody who believes that is just like, there he is, get him! Because if he dies, everyone's redeemed.
If I kill Jesus, I'm forgiven from killing for killing Jesus.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like a deep urge within your very being to cause some kind of like second great schism
No.
Always.
in a religion?
No. Not particularly.
Alright, just me then?
No, me too.
Oh, fuck yeah. Cool. This must be because you're gingerly,
I am soulless.
as we know.
Yes. I'm also an atheist. So in my head, we're all soulless, but just in case I'm wrong, I'm ginger and still soulless.
Officially recognized stance of the podcast. Be whatever religion or non-religion.
Yes.
Just don't hurt people.
Yes.
Don't suck.
Don't be
Don't suck.
Don't be a meanie face. Don't do it.
I swear to God, if you're a Christian, you better actually be Christ-like, or I will haunt you.
Yeah, you
He
gotta
can do that now. He's dead.
I'm dead now. I can do that. Do Jesus-y things, or I will haunt you in your
You
sleep.
gotta have the hair. You gotta have the robes. You gotta have the
I don't mean
sandals.
physically,
You gotta
but
have
that
the cross.
would also
you
be
gotta
pretty
have
neat.
the dying on the cross. You gotta have,
You have to die.
you gotta have
to
the
be
spear in the
resurrected 3 days
side.
later.
You gotta have the fucking coming out of a cave.
You need to have plans to die on Easter. Or, sorry, 3 days before Easter.
Yes. You gotta have God as your dad. Your mom's name has to be Mary. Your dad has to do nothing with your birth.
I meant like in actions and deeds, but I mean, yeah, physically, if you manage to do all of that, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you have to, Cole. What you're saying is that in order to be Christ-like, you need to help raise the dead and.
Excluding the literal
Yes.
miracles. So, I mean, I interpret the Bible as largely metaphor anyway. So
Oh, sure, when
Yeah.
Jesus does necromancy, it's a miracle. If I do necromancy, it's a crime.
well, typically when like the average person does necromancy, it's also a body that they murdered in the first place.
I don't know what you mean. Ah.
And it also involves like grave robbing sometimes. It's a lot of complicated legal ground in necromancy.
Sorry, last I checked, grave robbing was not one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, you're right. On the list of the 7 deadly sins, one of them is indeed not grave robbing. Sure, it's not on the list. Although, if I recall correctly, it glows.
It glows. It glows.
It goes.
Like a glow stick.
Technically, we've started the episode and we'd spent like 20 minutes and
Yeah.
we've done nothing. It's one of those nights, isn't it?
It might be. Okay.
The list goes gluttony, sloth, grave robbing, pride.
Hey, wait, no. Get the grave robbing out of there. That's not one of them.
All right. So which of the 7
Lust.
is the apocryphal that grave robbing is replacing?
Gluttony.
Personally, I think it should be gluttony.
Oh, fuck it.
Damn, alright.
I don't consider gluttony one of the 7 deadly sins. I consider it an enhancer to any sin.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing.
It's more
like,
of a
technically,
buff.
technically, the 7 deadly sins are like they're like colors, right? They all like blend together. It's like if you look at a big color spectrum wheel, it's like yeah, you can point at red and say, well, that's wrath, but like it blends in with the other ones
I
too. at some
can't
point.
believe
It's
that color theory is sinful.
like, by being an artist, you're committing so much sin.
Oh man, it sucks so much. Now my soul's gonna go to hell. I'm Ginger. Don't go on. Fuck you. Afterlife, I'm not going at all. There's gonna be nothing.
It's a get out of sin free card.
It's more of a get out of afterlife card. I'm going nowhere. I'll just be dead.
Man, I can't wait for the extended version of this episode to be like 3 hours long, and the normal one's just 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Not even.
I will not
Not
upload
even.
a 3-hour video. I will cut it off before it gets that long.
I think it'd be funniest if you cut all of the beginning so it starts partway through.
No, I need an intro.
No, I don't mean like all of the beginning. I mean like
The intro, and
The
then
intro
there's
happens.
a distinct cut to like fucking 40 minutes later.
Yeah. But we all know that like a lot of places got Christianized, like all over the fucking place. Functionally, basically everywhere in the world has had some degree of interaction with the Christian religion. And it's influenced their cultures in some way, shape, or form. So,
On that topic, Hercules, the Disney movie.
Hercules the Disney movie. Hercules the
add
Disney
that
movie
in.
definitely portrays Hades as just hell and Olympus as heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really what I'm getting at, is like, obviously, you know, the Christian Empire did encompass the entire world at points in time, and we see the effect of that to this day. However, media isn't written by countries, it's written by individuals. Most of
Yeah.
them...
Individuals grow up in countries.
Yeah,
Believe it or
but
not.
it's not that big of a stretch to say that most media is written in spite of the country.
A lot of media that lasts for a long time is, I would say, I agree with that. The
I just
yeah,
think it's
but
interesting we don't see that we don't see a lot of alternative depictions of the afterlife.
I mean, on one hand, you can definitely have like a uh, an interpretation of heaven and hell in your work that doesn't like directly pull like right out of Christian, because like the understanding of heaven and hell in today in like modern pop culture is so, and I'd argue in like some Christian sects today as well, but that's a different topic. uh I don't want to get too involved with that. I don't want to get murdered.
Welcome to the religion podcast.
I want to get murdered by the internet. um is that it's just very distant from, I don't know, it's like first of all, it's like extremely distant from like, you know, the ye olde texts, ugh, to
Yeah.
begin with. So it's like even though like yeah, the majority of depictions of it are absolutely drawing from the Divine Comedy, even then there's been like so many years of like cultural shifts and shifts in the public consciousness that just lead to like fully different interpretations of what it is now, right?
Yeah, but regardless, it will always boil down to good people go to heaven, bad people go to hell.
Well, that's the thing, is that that's not always the case, because it's more and more like over the past like 20 years, I would absolutely say that like we've seen more and more and more media that is actively portraying the systems at play here as like inherently unjust, right? I just
Yeah.
thought
Yeah,
of the fucking The Good Place from, I don't even know what year that came out, but that's like a sitcom that takes place in the afterlife, and it takes place mostly in hell, or referred to as the bad place. And the major one of the major things in the show is the fact that like, oh, basically every human being alive is going to hell because uh they're like participating in like systems that they don't have it, that like no individual person has any reasonable control over, right? When we buy a piece of technology, most of the components in that were gotten in the most immoral, unethical manner possible.
Mm-hmm.
But like as individuals, we have no control over that. But in the system that that show posits, you would go to hell for that. And so it's like, over the past 20 years, we've seen a lot more media that is actively portraying these systems as inherently cruel and unjust, causing more people to get sent to a bad place or hell, depending on how literal it wants to be.
Yeah. Like
And with
Has-Been
that
Hotel.
topic, we can talk about Has-Been Hotel.
The one TV show I've willingly watched by myself in how many years?
So, I don't know, dude. I'm gonna just say throw a number out there. 10. Is that correct? Is it longer?
Maybe.
Whoa. Wow. Okay.
Think, think around the age I would still be watching Cartoon Network. And then around the age where I would have discovered YouTube and then stopped watching Cartoon Network.
Okay.
So 10, 12 years roughly, maybe.
15, 28.
I'm not Oh, God.
32 years ago.
70.
70. Yeah,
But
Husband Hotel like absolutely like portrays it in the same way. Like that's one of the really interesting things about the way that I guess this has become the heaven and hell episode.
Yeah.
Of like over the past several years, there's been a lot more and more media that is like portraying the systems of heaven as unjust, thereby condemning more people than reasonably should be. And Husband Hotel is definitely an interesting take on that because it is positing that like the idea of redeeming a soul after the fact, which has been largely absent from a lot of media, I think, for a long time. A lot, there's like some things that kind of deal with that. For my brain just went to Castlevania for some reason, where spoilers. Dracula dies at the end of season 2 and is revived at the end of season 4. And is in hell that whole time. But like the fact that he A could get out and B seems like better for it does suggest the idea that there is like a degree of redemption that can occur for even like the worst kinds of people. And at the time of his death, Dracula was absolutely one of the worst kinds of people.
His hell was just an infinite therapy session.
It's actually this horrific, believe it or not, hellscape.
So an
But
infinite therapy session.
He was there. He was there with his wife, so I guess that was useful for him.
My dear, you make this bearable. And she's just like, ah!
The only time we see them in hell, they are just like sat in what looks like the ruins of a church, just hugging each other.
Oh.
But like,
we're gonna hug it out. We're gonna hug it out.
Even still, the fact that like Castlevania, the TV show, does play with like the ideas of like redemption in that manner, with a decent amount of characters having arcs where they like get worse and then get better, or just get better in the first place. That doesn't happen post mortem. Husband Hotel is the first one I've seen in a while that posits the idea of like, can a soul be redeemed? Like the soul of a person after you've already died and been judged.
Mm-hmm. Can you get a retrial?
Can you get a retrial? Can Phoenix write this?
Phoenix write. I sentence you to hell. Objection.
Overruled. Die. Like deals with the idea of like, because like that's the final judgment, right? Death.
Yeah, death.
After that last stone has been cast, can you change as a person when you're no longer alive?
That is the question that Husband Hotel explores.
I wish they had more than 8 episodes.
Has you've watched them all, or no, or yes, or can I get into spoilers, because it actually talks about more Afterlife stuff, and I don't want to.
Yeah, no, go ahead. No,
Okay.
I have watched episode 5, so I'm almost there.
Okay.
I keep getting sleepy.
Okay. And you don't care about
No,
the spoil? Okay, great.
I don't care about spoilers.
I just,
You don't care about
I know
spoilers.
you don't.
I've watched as much of Husband Hotel as I'm going to.
That's fair. I just, especially with shows that I like, which is really rare. I like to make sure everyone's on board with spoilers.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, so for our viewers, spoilers for Husband Hotel. So there is a bit of a debate going on in the world of Husband Hotel as, to the question of, can you redeem a soul that has already been chucked into hell? And this is explored even further because Charlie, the main character, Princess of Hell, of the show, actually gets an audience with some of the higher-ups of heaven, to sort of try to talk this out. And sort of,
I've seen all of the songs,
yeah,
so I think
yeah,
I know what part you're talking about.
yeah, and so they're trying to figure out like if a soul can be redeemed, and they're using the character Angel Dust, a porn star in hell, as an example, where it is clearly depicted that he has vastly improved from where he started. And one of Adam, the first man, had drawn up all of these like requirements in order to get into heaven. And
Side note, quickly, if you don't mind, one of the only pieces of media concerning like technically quote unquote biblical heaven and hell that I've seen that actually remembers that Adam also existed. Because they get really concerned with Eve all of the time, mostly, right?
yeah.
Which understandable, considering the
She was the one
the
that was like,
everything.
Apple.
But like, I do also tend to forget that there was like a whole other first person there, and then also no one ever remembers Cain and Abel. So
Lilith.
well,
Lilith.
believe it or not, Adam and Eve sure did fuck, and they did have kids.
Yes. But anyway, he writes up all these rules and stuff for how to get into heaven, just off the top of his head. And in this sort of trial judgment place, I don't know if it's trial. It sort of seems like a trial, but it doesn't at the same time.
It looks very trial-y.
It does look very trial-y. But basically, they show that Angel Dust is fuck, what's the word? Angel Dust has all of these attributes, and is using them in the nightclub scenario that he's in at the time. And so Charlie poses the question, why, if this is what you need to get into heaven, and he's doing all of that, then why isn't he here? And you know, all the angels start sort of bickering and talking amongst themselves, and then Charlie makes the realization that they don't know how to get into heaven either.
Yeah.
So the way to get into heaven is this huge enigma in Hazbin Hotel, because even the people in heaven don't know how they got there. And the trial is quickly ended to stop the chaos of philosophical questioning and all the other stuff. Also, the exterminations in Hazbin Hotel.
Further complicating the issue is that every year.
It was every year within the
And they
time
moved
frame of
this
the
one
show.
up.
They moved it up to 6 months.
Because Adam's a piss baby.
Yeah.
Apparently Beetlejuice and the Beetlejuice musical played him in like the actual show, which is really cool.
Nice.
So he's just got a good voice.
Did you know that Husk was the arbiter?
I didn't. You told me this. That
Yes,
Husk was the
I know.
arbiter.
We'll go back to Halo later. Don't worry about it. But so every year, because Hell's population is so fucking big, because apparently heaven's an enigma, there is a squad of angels, who are basically exterminators that will come down and just cull the herd of sinners, which is the whole reason that, Charlie is doing the whole redemption hotel thing in the first place, is to try to make it so that's not necessary.
Well, it's not necessary in the first place.
Well, no, it's not, but
It's like a part of the thing. Because if I recall, initially in their initial conversation, before the song starts,
Before the musical happens. Quickly, before they start a music number.
Well, the musical that happens when Charlie's like initially talking to Adam is "Hell is Forever."
Yeah, hell
So
is forever. Yeah.
before that happens, he's like positing the extermination as something of uh, essentially like vengeance for the souls in heaven to get on the souls in hell, because he's perceiving it as like, oh, the people who are in hell are the people who did all the bad fucked up shit to the people who got into heaven.
I
If I think I remember that. I could have
No.
just imagined it.
Nope. I don't remember that at
It's
all.
not, it does not begin like
No.
by portraying it as like a vengeance dealy.
No, he doesn't start talking about the reasons, at least his reasons for doing the exterminations, until during the song. Before then, he's
Okay.
just disregarding
And one of them
Charlie
is
the
fun.
whole time.
One of them is entertainment.
One of them is entertainment for him. In the episode with the trial, it is revealed that the actual reasons that heaven allowed that to even happen was because the populations of hell were getting big, and they were afraid that hell was going to try to rise up and fuck them up. So in order to make sure they didn't do that, they sent down exterminators every year to make that not happen.
Oh, it's that full in a year?
I guess. I don't know. Like it could be they just said we are allowing exterminations and then let Adam take over, and then he made it a year just because he wanted to
Like,
do it
yeah,
for
we'll do
funsies.
it every year.
But like the issue, like the thing is, it's like it's not really communicated who controls what with that. So it's
the
just
Super Bowl of murder.
dun, 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 dun. It's just- yeah. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah, and then it's also a notion in hell that like the people in hell can't do anything to angels, like they're unkillable. But in the first episode, it's made very clear that one of the angels died during that extermination, which is why they moved it up. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Oh,
Because
okay.
like because someone in hell killed an angel during the extermination, which is why Adam and his little buddy decide to move the extermination up by 6 months, because they're like we need revenge for this one angel. It's not revenge on the whole hell population. It's because they were bad in life. It was because you killed one of our angel buddies. I'm gonna fuck you up. So yeah.
One of the interesting things to me about the way that the system works in Has-Been Hotel is that, like, but I mean, first of all, one of the things that's just interesting to me in general is like we don't super know a whole lot of details about everybody's like lives before they ended up there. So there's like not really like there's not like a thorough line that like the viewer can draw to be like, aha, so this is and it's that here, and to figure out like who really belongs in hell and who doesn't, right? Because like there are definitely characters here who probably deserve like some kind of punishment for the things they did in life. Cannibalism, Mertzi being a serial killer. Just like to name two things for no reason.
What do you mean?
I like the radio demon as much as the next person, but man,
He's
probably should be in hell.
He's my favorite character, and I agree.
Like I don't remember like really much about like what the hell Angel just did before he died that like would have put him in fucking hell.
I'm going to assume by the Tommy guns and the accent, it had something to do with the mafia.
Possibly.
But that's a guess. That's not confirmed. I don't know. um but yeah. Yeah, it's hard to infer based on what they did in life, because we don't know what they did in life.
I do kind of like that in some aspects, because while it's like pretty clear and cut and dry for some people, like Alistair was a serial killer that ate people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense for him to be there, but like we don't know details about other people's lives, so we don't know if they did things that were on that scale. And then the question I think will become, like in future seasons, will become like, can even Alistair be redeemed in the eyes of whatever forces that control these things? Like,
I mean, that would I like.
I don't think that's like. I think that's like a question that'll be posited. I don't think that's where like he'll end up. I don't think he will be.
No,
Right.
yeah,
I think that's like a. I think that's an interesting thing to explore.
yeah.
Like, is that even possible?
Is that even possible? Yeah,
Has he
the
done too
main
much?
yeah, the main issue I see with that, like, even with the future knowledge I know, which I won't talk about because I don't have to, uh, like,
I know at the end of season one character does get one sinner does end up in heaven.
yeah, which
So the
does answer the question of the show, but
which
to an
yeah,
extent,
which answers the question of a soul can be in hell, can be redeemed, and can then end up in heaven.
yeah,
The question, I feel like, from that point on then becomes, to what severity of things do you have to have
yeah.
done to be ineligible for
And
redemption?
also, if you signed your soul off to another demon,
True. If
like,
you no
what
longer
does
own
that
your
do?
soul,
Like, yeah, like,
like,
what
yeah,
is,
can you?
does it get like yoinked back,
Yeah,
or
if
is
you
it
get
locked?
redeemed, if you get redeemed, but one of the hell overlords owns your soul, are you just not allowed to go up there, or like?
Yeah, like, what do you do? um, yeah, but you know,
A lot of really interesting things to explore within the world that's been crafted here. And my only concern going forwards is how they'll handle them, because it's a hefty bag,
mm,
uh, and B, God, I hope they have enough time.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna hope that with the success of the first season here, which it succeeded, I think,
Yeah.
that they will allow more episodes and give the artists more room to breathe. Because, like, I can understand being a little cautious about pulling a random show off of the internet from a bunch of random internet people and going, go ahead, try.
The production of this show is insane.
Yeah. But it's good insane. Is good. It's a good show. Go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Or if you don't have money,
Or watch it somewhere else.
yeah, legally.
Yeah, legally.
Definitely not with quotation marks around it.
And you can steal your family's Amazon Prime account. Wink wonk.
That's what I did. I used my mom's. See, just
I
do
don't
that.
know.
Just do that. Just
I don't know if I'll just log in.
just ask.
He's busy. Like the almost always actively doing things.
Just
He's like you.
just drag him.
He does not like stopping doing things.
Just make him stop. For like 2 seconds.
I can do that pretty successfully with you, but he very differs in that regard, and that is it's hard to get him to stop doing anything. I can distract you with other things to do. Like watch another TV show.
Yeah. Speaking of another TV show, what do we want to talk about next?
Let's do Good Omens because I've at least seen the first season.
Good Omens, okay.
Can therefore actually talk about it.
Woo!
Being that I did see it like 3 years ago, so.
I mean, that's basically when it came out, isn't it?
I think.
Yeah, it's just a matter of 3 years ago is a bit outside my perfect memory range.
Well, all years for the past, like, 4 or 5 years have been in the soup, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, Good Omens as an Afterlife is really, really interesting to me, because we don't see much of it,
Yeah.
like, ever at all. We get the idea that heaven and hell do process the souls, and interestingly, at least in regards as it goes, it seems like they don't have the kind of issue that Hazbin Hotel or The Good Place has, where like your like souls are getting sent to places they maybe shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like because the kind of conceit behind Good Omens is that heaven and hell are poorly run bureaucracies. I think we can kind of exposit from there. Oh, just like you stand in line for a long fucking time,
Yeah.
probably on an escalator that's either going up or down.
A really crowded elevator if it's down.
Very crowded.
Escalators are fun. We can't have that if you're going to hell.
Smells. It's a little moldy.
Sometimes the elevator gets stuck. And by sometimes, I mean every 5 minutes.
It can't be that reliable. It has to be like a weird interval.
Mm.
Every 4.5 to 5 minutes and 23 seconds.
Unless the number 3 is on that period of time. In which case, it happens every 2 minutes. And 15 seconds.
It breaks down at randomly generated times. There is no upper or lower limit.
Truly wonderful.
Truly. Yes.
So the only thing that heaven and hell and Good Omens are united in is their bureaucracy. In the first season, they both want Armageddon to happen.
Yeah. Except for our 2 main boys. Who don't.
Hooray.
Which is an interesting concept of can two lads go up against the forces that be?
Can one morally dark gray demon and one morally light gray angel work together to prevent the apocalypse? The answer, apparently, is yes.
Yes.
Also, one of them can freeze time for a little bit.
Yeah.
And restart it with the window crank of his car.
It's interesting.
In case it wasn't obvious, this was written by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, so that's why it's like this.
But yeah, Good Omens focuses less on the
Whole being dead thing.
whole being dead thing, and it focuses more just on like how the higher ups of the afterlife work. At least in this narrative, which is bureaucratically apparently.
It's like working in the worst office you've ever been at on both ends.
Yeah.
Hell's office is stinky and crowded and dimly lit, and everyone's shambling all over the place like they have been working for thousands of years with no breaks because that's exactly what they've been doing.
Yeah. And the other one looks so horrifically sterilized that you'll go blind within a day.
Yeah, yeah. The other one looks like if I walked in there, I would immediately have to like. I'd have to like. I don't know what I would do if I ended up in that place. Honestly, I'd probably just lay on the ground and cry.
Forced to clean up after your breathing.
It's a blank white void. There are windows along one wall that just look out into a cloudless blue sky, and there's an occasional pillar.
There's an occasional what?
Pillar.
Ah, you became a robot for a second. I was afraid you were talking about some incomprehensible being in heaven. And sometimes there's just a.
There's an occasional pillar. I feel like if I arrived in a place like that, like at least in Good Omens, at least hell is like feels like an actual physical location. It feels like a tunnel system that could exist.
Yeah.
Heaven does not feel like any place that could possibly be, and this is all like clearly like intentionally by design. And if I ended up in what Good Omens perceives heaven as, I would just, if presuming my fucking corneas still worked, start crying on the floor immediately.
Fair enough.
Especially if I had to like immediately. I guess in both places they're both dressed in like office clothes. If I had to also dress in office clothes when I ended up in one of those places, if you get hired upon arriving, that'd be terrible. But that does not what seems. That's not really what the case seems to be, because it seems. We don't know what happens on the heaven side of things, but on the hell side of things, we do see some Nazis
Yes.
end up there in the second season. And they are condemned to some kind of eternal torture of being trapped inside a giant spider's nest, eaten alive, pooped and or vomited out. Forget.
And
then alive again.
They get out of that system in some capacity, somehow reform into what they were, and then get eaten again.
Forever. Yeah, and these specific Nazis are given the option to try and escape that fate by trying to find evidence that the two that we've previously mentioned, Aziraphale and Crowley, are working together, because that would be bad. Demons and angels aren't supposed to work together. They're rival corporations.
Yeah.
They fail spectacularly to get evidence and are cursed to a possibly worse fate for both them and everyone else, or not worse than being eaten by a spider, but still a bad one, because they're just zombies now, losing all cognitive function slowly as they decay while still conscious.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose in an aspect kind of that.
So it seems like the right people are getting sent to hell, at least. Sorry, I wanted to finish that thought.
That's fair. But yeah, the one similarity Good Omens has to Hazbin Hotel is, once again, it's clear there's a confusion in heaven to some extent, because in Hazbin Hotel, as we discussed, they don't know how people get into heaven. And in Good Omens, there's this clear idea the bureaucracy has for God's plan, and yet Aziraphale and Crowley keep doing not that and keep getting away with it without God saying "fuck you."
Well, it's because no one actually knows what God's plan is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ineffable.
Yeah.
It's just like real life.
It's just like real life. and so like and so it's just like heaven keeps, going on like, oh yeah, we know what we're doing, and then it's like, no, you don't. You know what you do.
Yeah.
But yeah. That Good Omens focuses more on the bureaucracy, the people that go there.
Running theme of at least what seems to be heaven and hell for the past several years. Actually, longer than the past several years, because Good Omens the book came out fucking when?
A while ago.
A while ago.
In 1990. So for decades, the running theme has kind of been that like these big afterlife systems are at best inefficient, at worst actively malignant.
Yeah.
So it really is like that. That's the thing. That's what's been going on. I've seen a lot of people, and this includes myself as well, that like the idea of like angels or just celestial beings in general, in a setting, secretly being the bad guys, the antagonists of the setting, is like such a non-surprise now. Once upon a time, that would have been like subversive, but it's been subversive. It was subversive for a while, and it's happened so much now that playing it straight and having like the Celestials be protagonists and the infernal. I'm defaulting to fucking Forgotten Realms terms. Be the antagonists is just as expected as the reverse of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why I brought up the point earlier of like I find it interesting that no one has tried to just ditch the system entirely.
Yeah.
And come up with an entirely separate, I guess not afterlife setting, but like cosmic order setting of either neutrality or just more than chosen demons.
Right, so that's what you were asking earlier. Now this makes more sense to my brain. Well, the answer still, I think, goes back to the general sheer amount of ubiquity, at least in the media that we all consume, that Christianity has. Because we do live in America, and as far as I know, the three of us only speak English. Which then leaves stuff that either has been made in English, or has been adapted in some way, shape, or form into English for us to watch, read, whatever. And that will just like include a lot of stuff from the culture that we're also from. At the end of the day, like even if it's from overseas, it still has been adapted into our language for a reason, because it was popular enough with the audience that we're a part of to be adapted.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why
you're correct. I am for the most part, a completely mundane American person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up the like I can't be the first person to have thought of expanding the Christ verse beyond good and evil.
No, you aren't.
I'm just surprised that like I'm never the most interesting person in the room, and yet I don't see it anywhere. and I don't understand why.
I think it's because people default to what they're still ultimately familiar with. The
I guess that makes
binary
sense.
system works because people know it already.
Yeah. And also,
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. It's also just feels like creative bankruptcy.
I get that.
you mean most media right now? Yeah, the other thing is that especially if we're talking about like, Hollywood, they're going to want to go with things that are the most familiar because that brings in the most people and gets them the most money.
I'm going to be completely honest. I forgot Hollywood existed. I consume almost
That is-
exclusively indie media because media.
It is better media than a lot of other places. A lot of the time, that's very true.
Mm-hmm. True. But yeah, a lot of media comes out of Hollywood. A lot of media likes to stay familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably why.
That's even the case with independently produced media.
Yeah.
Because like using familiarity is a way to gain notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
Even if notoriety is the thing that they're going for in their art, using familiarity is like an extremely versatile tool when it comes to creating something.
Yeah.
So it's like I understand your foibles with it. I have those as well, where it's like, man, I am tired of this like exceeding the binary system of like goods and evils, and like
The binary
there's
system is either good is evil or evil is evil.
yeah, and there's like very little variation in it.
Where's my TV show about purgatory?
Do you wanna see a TV show about a guy climbing a mountain for like 10 seasons?
I don't want to see most TV shows.
I guess you are the wrong person to ask.
Okay, but Cole, I would actually watch a Sisyphus live stream.
Sisyphus live stream? Someone's got it. Sisyphus live stream. Lo-fi tunes to roll a boulder up a hill to.
He's gotten
Sisyphus.
he's gotten
Someone's got it.
so good at like rolling the boulder up the hill over and over again that he's managed to come up with a streaming system that he can walk with while pushing the boulder.
Yeah.
And started
Well, he's
streaming himself.
in Hades. I'm sure they can facilitate some kind of magical system for that.
He just screams up to the sky and just if you're gonna have me do this for all of eternity, at least let me stream it.
Let me stream it. Alternate
You've
reality.
been subservient enough to have some form of companionship, even if that companionship is found in the fucking live stream chat.
Companionship is Twitch chat, who can add modifiers to the boulder for channel points.
If we reach the sub goal,
I get to add a few stickers of my own to the boulder.
if we reach this donation goal, I'll get a tattoo of the boulder on my hand.
The modern Sisyphus is just a Twitch streamer that does this all day.
Oh no.
Yeah. No, the modern Sisyphus does that voluntarily. Pushes the boulder up a hill voluntarily, only for it to be knocked back down. Entirely. That's
It's the point of their channel. It's the entire thing that they do there. And so the chains are more metaphorical than ever, keeping them to the task of rolling the boulder up the hill over
they're
and over.
self-imposed chains.
Exactly. Well, that's the point of the thing of Sisyphus.
They
Yeah, but I mean, like,
self-imposed. It's much more
It's
literal.
voluntarily self-imposed.
They fit the brand. You can put the chains on merchandise. In his merch shop. You can get them on a T-shirt.
If this ever stops rolling the boulder up the hill, the view count drops dramatically, and he stops
They lose their
making
sponsorship.
tons of money.
Not rolling the boulder up the hill.
This boulder roll was sponsored by Raid Shadow
Crazy workout though.
Crazy workout. He's got to be real strong by now.
He's been doing it for how many fucking thousands of years?
So many.
Hundreds?
So many.
My sense of time is severely wacky.
It's more than hundreds.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Being a ghost really skews your sense of time. All is oblivion.
Okay. What's the next?
I mean, if we want something that doesn't have like a delineated heaven or hell setting, I read a book series.
You read a book series?
You can
Believe
read
it or not.
That's crazy.
That should not be surprising to you.
as a ghost. Yeah, it does surprise me.
I thought you said you couldn't
I
see.
could read when I was alive, and this was before I was dead.
Guess we didn't get to him fast enough.
You know, I guess it does make sense that you can read, seeing as we are contacting you through a Ouija board.
Put the book on the Ouija board.
But then you fucking spell that out on the Ouija board. Give book.
Here's the book.
Well, I mean, a Ouija board obviously communicates through written letters, so obviously you would have to read writing.
Yeah.
I read a book series a while ago called The Dragon Lords, and spoilers for The Dragon Lords immediately. I'm not even going to cover what the normal plot is. We're just going to skip immediately to book 3, where somehow we've gone from just heisting from dragons to ending up in the afterlife.
Okay.
And trying to escape with the help of the former deities of the land.
Would the afterlife transfer happen to be because you got wrecked by a dragon?
No.
Surprising. Continue.
Actually. So I'll explain the rest of the story in brief. Book 1. Dragon heist happens. First dragon heist happens. And that's like the whole first half of the book is like prep for that dragon heist, how that dragon heist almost goes wrong, and how that dragon heist ends with actually killing that dragon instead of just stealing all of its stuff.
Oh shit.
Completely unintentionally murdering the dragon. The several other dragons that rule this nation are pissed. The second half of the book is killing the rest of the dragons. Because our protagonists accidentally start a cult, worshipping them as dragon murderers. So they're like, we need more money to sustain our cult. We're responsible for all these people now. So they're like, okay, we'll go steal from another dragon.
Oh my god.
In the process of stealing from that dragon, they then also kill that dragon.
By accident?
By accident.
There's only so many accidents.
The one time is an accident, the second time is a coincidence, and the third time, that's when they open an investigation.
Yep.
Well, the third time they did it on purpose, and they killed the rest of the, dragon council that rules the, country, and they do it by, through, some trickery of, because the dragons have fucked tons of money, they hire mercenaries to be their army, and through some trickery, they make them think that dragon's fire turns gold into, lead. They do a reverse alchemy. They do some trickery, and so that makes
Hold on. Reverse alchemy is still out.
Yeah, it is still alchemy. It's a gaff.
Alchemy's no joke.
Continue.
Fine, all right. They pretend to do some alchemy. They pretend that dragon's breath has alchemical properties that turns gold into lead, which is not the case, but they lie that it is. They do a trickery, and that gets all the armies to turn on the dragons, and then the rest of the dragons die. Book 2, the rest of the dragons there are more dragons. They just don't live on this continent. They live on an island, and they've sent emissaries. They're starting their own cult, and this cult aims to supplant the gods with dragons. This is actually feasible in setting, because this is one of those settings where the deities derive their power directly from the belief of the people. So if you discredit them enough, if you make the people believe that they are weak and that these dragons are actually stronger than these deities, that becomes the case. In an effort to make this not happen, purely because while like the our group of plucky protagonists don't really like the gods very much because they've not really been very useful to them, but like they prefer the gods that are like largely inactive to dragons that would be actively tyrannical. And so they do a big conspiracy plot. They get a little shard of each of the gods' powers because the gods also don't want to be supplanted, and
Really?
drain the.
Really? I couldn't have guessed.
Oh, I thought there was an actual question for a second. I
No,
got really involved in hearing myself speak.
I was making a yoke. This a funny how.
A yolk of the egg, the dragon egg.
Ha!
We don't actually see any dragon eggs, I think, in this whole series. Anyway, they make the joke, they make the dragon's power wane by like cracking shitty jokes about them because the entire thing reads like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
I rolled a nat 20 on charisma. Is anybody here a dragon? I am. Well, you're a nerd.
And they end up getting betrayed by one of the other gods who wants to become the sole and only deity of the entire pantheon, because previously he got deposed and imprisoned by the rest of the members of the pantheon because he's like a party / trickster / murder god, and they got really sick of him killing people.
Stop it. Get
So they
some.
kind
So
of
it's just Norse mythology.
a little. There's as much incest as there is in Greek mythology, though. So plenty. So this god betrays everybody and kills our group of protagonists, most of them, and they end up in the afterlife, which is just plains of endless fields. In a lot of places, various caves are there. It's in a really fucked up state, because technically most of the gods have now been deposed, and so the people who were previously in charge of running the afterlife, things that would be like the equivalent to angels and shit, are now also in a state of active rebellion. And things are just getting worse and worse. So they go down there, they're like, hey, listen, alright, did you guys actually make the universe, or have you like been lying about that the entire time? Because I would not be surprised if you've been lying about that the entire time. And they're like, well, okay, we did make the physical world, but technically our power comes from this other source. And they're like, great, please take us to that other source. So they go deep into the bowels of the afterlife, find an elder deity, an elder god, some fucking Cthulhu ass shit, drink a little bit of its blood, and go kind of insane, because that piece of blood that's in our main protagonist actively feeds off of worship and belief, and so it drives him to do things that he wouldn't typically do in the name of receiving more worship. And technically in the name of receiving more worship in order to then depose this new tyrant god and just like fix the fucking mess that he's made.
Gotcha.
And technically he does do that by the other thing, but like the afterlife as it's portrayed in the third book here is one that like everybody goes to when they die. Everybody goes here when they die. And depending on which deity looked the most favorable on them depends on what kind of area they end up in. So like our main protagonist was a farmer before he was a rampant dragon murderer. And so like imagined that when he died he would end up like in the fields doing like more leisurely farm things for all of eternity. By the time he gets there though, most of the fields have been set on fire. You don't really need food when you're dead, it turns out. absolute fucking chaos land ruled by various war bands roaming all over the goddamn place. Uh, when he gets a little bit of that eldritch power, he accidentally unmakes the afterlife.
Uh, uh, uh,
See, what happens is he ate a little bit of that blood, uh, and it latched into him like some kind of internal symbiote, uh, but less conscious, much less conscious than a symbiote is, to be clear.
not Venom.
And uh, gave him temporarily, initially, like extremely ridiculous power level of bullshit for a very short amount of time as it was acclimating to his body. And so when they exit the cave, the deep, 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 deep cave hole that this elder god is in, and they get out of it, and they are like attacked by a war band and like shot at with arrows, he's like, I see the trajectory of the arrow. I'll just make the arrow stop. And he didn't think about like physics, and so in making the arrow stop, undid wind resistance, friction, gravity. Which kind of caused the entire afterlife to cease being. Thankfully, this doesn't perma-kill everybody. What it ends up doing is spewing all of the dead people, and also all of the like angelic beings that are there, into the mortal world.
Oh no.
So, yeah, that's the beginning of the third book.
Okay.
Things don't get better. And there's not an afterlife from that point on in the story. When you die, you just cease to be fully. No, there's no nothing. Technically, at the end of the book, I think the afterlife gets put back in place, but also that's a big maybe, because at the end of book 3, the concept of divinity sure does get split equally amongst all the living population of the world. So everyone's now like on equal divine footing, if nothing else. I don't know if that means that. No, actually, I do remember. One of the things specifically that our main protagonist says at the end of it is like, "I've put everything back the way that it before I fucked everything up." Everything.
I
He
did it.
briefly attains towards the climax. He briefly attains ultimate power and is like, I'm putting everything back the way that things like were before, but in like a better way.
That's it.
The better
I'm hitting the undo button.
the better way being that it's like fine, and everyone now has like a little spark of divinity in them. So yeah, they all have like a little bit of cool ass power, I guess.
Nice.
And also no dragons ruling an entire country and stealing all their money and eating people for fun. He does give the dragons a very lush area to live in, where they don't need to struggle for resources at all. Because the entire reason that the dragons came to conquer that nation was because the place that they're from, the island that they're from, is a fucking shit rock, where they have nothing. But knowing that they're like big and strong and stupid powerful, they're like, hey, it's been a good 1,000 years since we were last on this continent. Let's go back. Let's go back and fuck those guys up.
Yeah. This won't end poorly.
It didn't end poorly for a long time,
then
as
they
far as human lifespans are concerned. At least for them, it was not long enough.
Yeah, they all died.
One Tuesday afternoon.
One Tuesday afternoon, you've beaten one dragon's head in while it was knocked unconscious from sleeping gas, and drowned a second one, and then electrocuted the remaining 4 to death.
Oh my god.
Very bad Tuesday afternoon.
A very bad Tuesday afternoon.
Like the afterlife specifically in this place is very very interesting, and I wish we got to see it when it was actually functional instead of in the fucked up state that it's introduced to us in, because it seems like a really curious thing of like, oh, everybody goes here when they die, and it doesn't seem like there's any kind of like punishment or reward system. You just exist here under whatever god favors you, if any. And we don't know what happens if none of them do. It's unlike in the Forgotten Realms, where if you don't worship any particular god, you get sent to the fugue plane.
The what?
No one likes the fugue plane.
Yeah, I wish stories introduced an afterlife that just in general we're not hyper focused on that afterlife. Like, if they introduce an interesting afterlife system and flesh it out, that's because the entire story takes place in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially the thing, right? Like, I mean, Yu Yu Hakusho starts with our protagonist dying. He goes to the underworld for a bit. This is actually, if I recall correctly, it's actually like Japanese underworld because it's Yu Yu Hakusho's a manga. So I think he goes to the underworld a bit. I think he comes back somehow. I've only read summaries of Yu Yu Hakusho, so if this is incorrect, shoot me.
No, no, don't do that.
I'm already dead. What harm
okay.
could it do?
Well, if they shoot the speaker, I have to get another one.
That's not my problem.
This is my problem. Don't shoot my shit. It's rude and uncalled for.
So yeah, we covered most things we were going to.
And remember, kids, say no to the fugue plane.
Say no to the
Say
fugue.
why? Why would you say that? Let them make their own decisions about the fugue plane.
Yeah.
If you're faithless and you get sent to the fugue plane, you are turned into glue. Living glue. You're still conscious. Well, dead glue, it's your soul, but like, you're still conscious.
Some people might like that.
If you would like that, feel free to go to the fugue plane. If you wouldn't, say no to the fugue plane. You can't be turned into mortar without your permission.
Yeah. The cosmic entities that rule the universe can't legally turn you into glue without your consent.
You gotta sign a form.
I mean, if you're there for long enough, your consciousness does dissolve and you're just a wall.
Just a wall. You want to talk about an example that does the exact opposite of the example you just talked about, Cole?
Sure.
Hercules, the Disney movie.
Disney movie.
Is a movie that takes the Greek pantheon and turns it Christian somehow.
That already existed. It's called the Roman Empire.
Yeah. Disney is Rome. That's what I'm learning.
Well, the Roman Empire didn't really do that until it was till later. There was the Holy Roman Empire.
No, at first they just full on stole the Greek mythology, like, and then changed the names so that the teacher didn't know they copied the homework.
So that it was legally distinct for copyright purposes.
A lot of the associations as well. Like, that was just like a general thing that the Romans did, was like take shit from people.
Yeah.
Like, aha, see, your gods actually favor us, didn't you know?
Fun fact.
They favored you, we wouldn't have taken over. Checkmate.
You have your gods? That's cute.
Checkmate, barbarians.
What's a barbarian, you ask? Not Roman. Got him.
This post was made by Stealing Gang.
Stealing Gang. Oh my god. That's like it's like the name of like 3 NPCs you'd find in a corner in Earthbound somewhere.
I mean, okay, there's a reason that Romania has Roman as the first 5 letters.
Oh my
Is Romania associated with stealing?
In meme culture, yes.
In meme culture, okay.
Okay, I wouldn't know the first thing about that.
The movie Hercules, basically takes the ideas of heaven and hell, and crams them into Olympus and Hades.
You see, Olympus is heaven because clouds,
And up,
and up, and Hades is hell because
'cause
down.
down ground. and
This has been a dramatic simplification.
yes,
Yeah, just like what Disney did.
yeah, yeah. They like, and Disney goes even further with that, by having it so that there's this whole thing in the movie where there's this group of characters, that are narrating the story. They deliberately sound like a gospel choir. The entire time. Which is a very Christian thing. At least in America. um
Shout out to the scene where we see Meg's soul in the like soul well, whatever the fuck is going on there, where they're just like sad forever.
I don't know. Shout out to the scene where Hades gets thrown in there, and I don't know how the location of Hades is gonna be run now.
Well, he can probably swim out. He lives there.
I mean, they were dragging him down there, man. I don't know.
He's fine.
He's fine. He's a god. He'll be fine.
Hell can govern itself.
Cerberus will do it.
Talk about inmates running the prison.
The dog will do it.
And if they can't, that's what we have the canon follow up to the Bible, Ultra Kill, for.
I have to contact someone about interpreting Ultra Kill as scripture. I have to find someone to email about that because that sounds fascinating. It would have to be someone.
Contact Takeda.
You're right. Yeah, why wouldn't I just do that?
Ultra Kill and Dante's Divine Comedy are both Bible fanfic.
I think it's more fun if Ultra Kill is canon. More canon.
No, I think it's more fun if they're both equally canon.
Jeez.
Dante, this is the second circle of hell. Meanwhile, there's like a robot running around in the background, killing everything.
See, and it would be really funny because then it just canonizes Fumos in the Bible.
Sorry, I drifted away for a second. What? I did not hear that.
The part in Ultra Kill where you bring a Fumo out of the ocean that crashes your game. That's the extent of that.
If it has the power to crash my game, it must be divine. That's
That's what I say whenever my game crashes.
I usually just say, fuck, my computer's overheating again.
Maybe your computer's divine, Peter. Do you ever think of that?
I guess holy fire would overheat a computer, so, I'm not ruling that out.
See? Well, I am, because I'm an atheist.
Hercules, the movie, is weird.
It is weird. I
Weird
mean, I
movie.
still enjoy it. It's fun, but
It's entertaining, yeah.
when
It's a fun movie.
yeah, but when talking about it accurately depicting anything, no, it fails so much. Though I will say, in terms of the depictions of Olympus, they at least don't have a bunch of souls of people running around in Olympus. It's just the gods. So I'll give them that one. It seems like all the souls go to Hades.
Yeah, that is the weird thing in it,
Yeah.
especially If
Well, yeah, can you reasonably say that, like, there were any good people in Greece? Don't answer.
Okay. There weren't really any good gods either. Most of them.
Yeah, and why would they share heaven with the fucking peons?
Yeah. That was the other thing. Zeus was the replacement for God in their little mishmatch here. Which, if anybody has ever read anything about the actual Zeus in actual Greek mythology,
That tracks.
it's very common when talking about Christianity, Greek mythology, and Norse mythology to like just draw the immediate parallel. That's like, Odin, Zeus, and capital G God are the same guy, and it's like, no.
Definitely not that.
So not like at all. Like,
So anyway, do we have anything else to talk about?
ultra kill.
Oh.
I brought it up. I don't know fucking anything about Ultra Kill. It would be willing to take regular goldfish on the accuracy of.
Blood is fuel.
Blood is.
Hell is full. Blood is fuel. Something.
I gotta get ultra kill these days. That's all I have to say.
Angel is robot. That you fight Angel at robot. I don't.
Gabriel.
Gabriel is a robot.
He's voiced by a guy. He does a lot of other voicey things.
Gianni Montrigano.
Yeah, when he sometimes will just do the voice when you ask him to. It's how we got the $6 shrimp special. Cool guy, I think.
Probably.
I know very little about him. I'm just going to assume that he's cool.
I mean, everyone in Ultra Kill is cool. That's just how it is.
Breaking news, everyone involved in Ultra Kill actually drowned 17 puppies that they kicked relentlessly in the face and body.
I don't fucking care. They're cool.
No, I might need to ultra kill all of them. If that's
a
true.
good thing that's fake news that I made up right now.
Yes, that is not. The official opinion of this podcast is not that the
Look,
entirety of overkill.
anyone who can fucking parry buckshot with their fist can do whatever the fuck they want to puppies.
No. No.
It's not like we could stop them.
Yeah, more importantly, they parry their own buckshot that they shoot from their gun.
They reflect their own buckshot that they shoot from their gun off of a coin into your face.
Well, first of all, you can punch your bullets to make them go faster into said coin.
This game's rad as fuck. Everything
I know!
hear about it makes me want to get it even more. I don't know anything about how it relates to the concept of the afterlife, though.
Yeah, no, that's why
I know that according to the tag, hell is full.
Yeah, all I know about Ultrakill, like in terms of the plot, is that you are a robot and you are cleaning out hell because it is full.
POV.
You are ultra-killing them.
You're a glorified vacuum?
POV.
No, you're a glorified blender. Although, actually, you're a GoPro.
POV, you're an exterminator from Husband Hotel.
Yeah, that, except you're doing it against Heaven's divine orders.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking GoPro with legs.
Yeah, basically.
That guy can jump.
Yeah.
I guess it is weird that a lot of the things in that game from Heaven are robots.
Well, are they? It's like...
I don't know.
Because I know you play as a robot.
Yeah, I think they just look like robots.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Because they refer to you as machine.
Yeah, they do refer to you as machine, and you are explicitly a robot. Whereas, immediately thinking of Gabriel, I think he just wears armor that kind of makes him look like one in the art style.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing as the game could be rendered on a PS1 with no loss of textures, it could be very easily.
Okay. Then never mind.
The concept of heaven as like a divine machine, whereas hell would be like grossly organic, is, I think, at least a more interesting play on the dichotomy.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Welcome to heaven, be robot.
To heaven. See, I'd like to think that like both are fucked up and unsettling in very different ways, whereas heaven would be like too geometrical, everything works too good. You ever see gears that like mesh too perfectly together?
No, because gears only mesh perfectly. There's no such thing as too perfectly for gears. Clockwork is beautiful.
No, that's the thing though. Imagine if it did mesh too perfectly. What would that even be like?
Exactly right.
Yeah, exactly. It's not physically possible. I'm trying to communicate the cosmic horror of seeing something that is so perfect it cannot be fully understood.
That's just called Lovecraft.
No, it isn't. That's all stopping wet, stinking fishmen. That's a not so hidden metaphor for being extremely racist in New York.
Oh god.
Yeah, but like the thing that about Lovecraftian horror that drives people in the setting insane is that it is so far beyond comprehension that they drive themselves insane trying to chase that. It's like Moby Dick.
It is like Moby Dick. Moby Dick. A good book. Ahab saw a big ass whale, thought it was God. He lost his leg encountering it, and he got back to shore and was like, "Guys, I saw God. I'm gonna go hunt and kill God and claim my destiny."
Who wants to join me?
Who
Who
wants to join me?
And he's such a good speaker that he gets a fuck ton of people to join him, or a decent amount of people to join him. And they all die, except for Ishmael, the perspective character.
Who's also the only one who does not believe the whale is God.
Yeah.
Until he sees it. And then is like, oh yeah, never mind, you were right. Also, everyone...
Yeah. Ahab sees a whale so big that it fundamentally shatters his brain, and he believes that not only is the whale an aspect of God, but is also, like, actively manipulating everybody's fates. And so he thinks if he kills the whale, everybody will be free to decide their own destiny. He is, however, very insane.
Mm-hmm.
And in a modern setting, should be receiving psychiatric help.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, in ye olden times, what happened instead was you convinced several other people to get onto a ship with you to try and hunt a whale that you believe to be a god. To the point that when other people see it, they're like, yeah, I didn't believe you at first, but yeah, that's God.
Captain Ahab truly was a modern Odysseus.
Is it really modern if it's like, when did fucking Moby Dick release? Like, when did that book come out? It's still a long time ago.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a bit more modern than the fucking Odyssey.
That is correct, yes.
Modern, in terms of literature, starts anywhere from 20 minutes ago to 300 years ago.
That's true. Yeah, that is actually how it works. I feel like 200 years ago is kind of the cutoff for modern lit.
Fair enough.
When I was in my modern literature class, I only remember reading things that were as old as the early 1800s. So,
Fair. Anyway,
at the oldest.
do we have anything else we want to talk about in terms of Afterlife?
So I ran out of things a while ago. Like when I brought up Ultra Kill, that was the last thing I had.
That's fair.
Saving grace.
Saving grace.
I can't really think of anything else. This is gonna be a weird episode.
I am gonna try my best to get through the
I don't envy you.
That's why we save this editing process for Saturdays, because I have the whole day to figure it out. As opposed to like an evening.
Nah, just like blast it out and
Yeah.
like just one afternoon.
Yeah.
Let the autistic hyperfixation guide you,
I don't have
as God intended.
That makes me God's perfect soldier.
I do not have this thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm God's perfect soldier.
Oh, so I should have you edit this then.
Please don't.
You put your foot in your mouth there. I'm not.
I really did. I don't know the first thing about editing.
So I fucking thought. You may be God's perfect soldier, but you can't edit a podcast.
Admitting to being God's perfect soldier is also volunteering for labor.
Yep.
I don't like labor. You know, I do like sleeping. I do a lot of that. Oh, did a lot of that. Still dead.
Yeah, I'm aware.
True.
One could say that I've gone on to the big sleep.
Don't worry.
No, that's death.
We'll resurrect
Well,
you.
okay, I guess you have done that.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll resurrect you sometime before the next episode. And everything will be randomly back to normal, as if this whole you being dead thing never happened.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, making a podcast does require you to exist in the pseudo purgatory of slice of life anime, where nothing ever changes, despite it really feeling like it should.
We are in a constant state of episodic.
There is no status quo unless we do like a mini series. Then there is one for a little bit.
Yeah, but haven't quite done that yet. Anyway, it seems we've exhausted the topic. So, Peter.
The sound that I make when I am ultra and I kill.